Hi, my name is Oscar. I'm the inventory manager here. I've been working with scDataCom for about 3 years now. Love every moment of it. I would love to just continue on growing with the company. I love the people here. I like being part of a team, and there's no place like scDataCom. This is home to me, and I'm in here for the long haul. You know what I mean? I'm not looking anywhere, and anything of a thought to work out is just, it's not for me. I'm still here in Georgia for you guys. For real. Seriously.
You know what's so funny is I was thinking last night while I was prepping for this interview about hiring you, which you've been here now.
I just made 3. I'm going on 4.
That's crazy. It feels like 10. It feels like you've been
It feels like I've been here for a long time. You started, it was like the ending, November of 22. Yeah, so yeah, just made 3, on my way to 4.
And I remember when we hired you, again, the company has grown so fast. When we hired you, we were like really scared of an inventory manager because the people that had held that position, because it's additional overhead and complexity, like in an organization, like you're not a billable. Anytime there's an overhead position, we treat that really heavily because billable, like customers pay for their time. An overhead person like yourself, you have to pay for your time by making the organization better.
Right.
And if we don't yet know how we're going to quantify making it better, it just makes them kind of scary for small business.
Right.
But you like immediately jumped in and were just like, watch me go.
So I guess I've had a lot of inventory experience, and I think the challenging part with being here compared to the companies that I worked with before is that they had a structure, and I was able to just grab whatever they had and play with whatever tools that they had available. I was utilizing it that way.
Improving on the tool.
Right, improving with whatever's there. Here was a little different, especially with Zoho, which is relatively new. So it's kind of like, the challenging part about it is just trying to rebuild. There were tools available there, but it's how can we use those tools? Because everyone was still kind of familiarizing themselves with Zoho. So it was a bit challenging, but I'm very detailed. I try to, it's kind of like OCD, but it's not like too terrible. Where I don't have to hit the light switch like 8 times. You know what I'm saying? Just being able to analyze of what I want to do and how I want to construct it to what's going to be easiest for me. And if I can understand it and I'm able to train someone to understand it, then I'm okay with it. But I love doing what I do. And I guess me loving doing what I do and then loving the people that I work for, because I really do love you guys. You guys will always have a special place in my heart. And one of the things that I never want is to let you guys down. And I think that keeps me going. Failure is not an option for me. You and Kathleen have been such inspiration to me personally, that the way you guys operate and the way you guys treat your employees and just your overall, the empathetic values that you guys have, not only with the company as a whole, but personally, like it's very rare to me to see that in a company, which is why I know that I'm not, unless you guys get tired of me, I'm not going anywhere.
Well, we're never going to get tired of you. I'll say one last thing before I move on to the questions I prepared you for. But one of the things that I really admire, both what you did here and I think you as a person, is you're a very type A right-brained person. You like your spreadsheets, you like things in order, you like to have a process.
I'm very detailed. I have to be.
But you came into an organization that's so green in our inventory side and didn't have any of those mature processes or systems. You really had to play a heavy hand in creating them and having that capacity for creative thought and bringing order from nothing. I just think wasn't what I expected out of you, knowing how you operate, and it's really cool to see that dichotomy, that you can do all the things.
Right.
I love that.
And I'm glad you do.
Yes. So, what is something that you're loving right now, work really different now?
Surprisingly, AI, I was a little skeptical about AI. I was one of those. AI surprisingly has helped take my complex ideas and helping me bring them out into clearer solutions to be able to assist all departments. I'm still working on it. It's still relatively new to me, but I've been using it a lot more. Personal is just spending time with my kids, being home. Just as crazy as I am with the organization and in the warehouse or in the inventory or everything that I do as far as even spreadsheets, I'm like that at my house too, where it's just a pantry or organizing the kids' toys. Is just something that anything and everything that I do at home, away from home, I'm the same person.
Tell me more about how you're using AI.
Wow. One of the things that I've started to do is either putting my ideas into a paragraph of what I wanted to do, to create either a PDF, a Word document, or even find any discrepancies pertaining to projects. One of the cool traits about it, and I think AI still needs a little tweaking there, I'm able to take the scope of work for a project from a quote or a contract. I don't put the contract, just to let you know, I don't put the contract information in there. Based off the idea of what either the engineering is trying to do or the salesperson is trying to implement, to integrate into the project. What I do is I create it into a PDF, I stuff it in and say, hey, listen, find any discrepancies when it comes to the BOM, and let me know if, say, a Linnell board doesn't work with this Hurst. Pick out any discrepancies that may not be compatible with this build. And sometimes it spews out, hey, you have, and it's silly, you have 200 of this, but you have 250 of this. This may be something we have to look at. I gather that information before I place an order, and then I bring it up to the project manager, hey, listen, this is what I noticed. Well, not really me, but the help of AI, that this may not work with this. We may need to look into other avenues before I place any orders. So I've been using that in that aspect a lot.
That's great.
A lot, because it helps us be cost effective. A lot of times we can't return everything. Everything is sometimes not returnable, and sometimes when we try to find out if an item, we'll be able to return it back to the vendor, sometimes that window has closed and we're kind of just stuck with it. It also helps me out not to try to overwhelm our inventory system as well too.
Right. What is one part of your role that brings you the most satisfaction?
Oh, actually, I'm gonna look at my notes on this one. It's helping take a messy, confusing, challenging, and turning it into something manageable. When someone says, oh wow, that makes more sense now, that kind of makes me feel good. Yeah, it makes me, if I'm able to help that person, then when they have that thought where it's like, oh wow, that's so much better, so much clearer, it makes me feel good not only about my house, but it also makes me feel that I'm contributing to the cause, to what makes this company so great.
Right. And we were talking earlier, but just to get it on camera, that you're one of the few roles that touches every department in the company. You're not stretching outside of your normal duties to do that. You collaborate with everyone.
Right.
And so you get a nice holistic picture of how the company operates, but you
Right.
also get the opportunity to help all the different people.
So not knowing the answer to me is unacceptable. I don't like not knowing. And if I have to sit there and try to figure out, I will try to figure out. Now, don't get me wrong, sometimes I'm not perfect. Sometimes there's just certain engineering questions that I just don't have the answers for. But last resort, then I'll start having I don't want to bother. I know everyone's busy. I try to find the answer, but when I can't, then I'll just have to ask these questions to be able to help them, help me, help them in a sense.
Which core value resonates the most with you? And can you share a project or a moment where you embodied it?
I think a recent moment would be again, it goes back to the little touch on what I said before. It's stepping in to resolve a discrepancy that's caused delays. And instead of just fixing it on a surface level issue, walked across teams to talk about the root cause and rebuild part of the process and put clearer controls in place. So it's aligned with our value of accountability and continuous improvement and fixing the problem, making sure the solution sticks. Own your impact. Like you just don't want to just fix a problem. You want to fix the problem to the sense that everyone has an understanding of what that problem is and having a solution so that if it ever happens again, we won't have to revisit it. It'll just be continuous.
I love that because owner impact is really important to me. When we were doing the core value exercise, actually, the word you used is exactly right, accountability. And I don't think that's actually in be accountable for your results your way is actually in the description, but accountability is not.
It's one of the first things you told me when I first started. I remember you wrote it on a Post-it note and you said great accountability, and I've had that Post-it note since day one.
That is one of that I really fought to include that core value, and others in the group didn't agree that it should be there, and I was like, no, this is so core to who we are.
It is. It really is, because in order to fix or help, you have to own your impact. You have to know what you're about as a person. You have to know, like, no one's perfect. Everyone's here to try to help facilitate that goal, because I think for the most part, everyone here wants to see scDataCom succeed. It's just everyone has their own way of doing it.
Totally. And I think, to paraphrase what you said, you own the problem, and you're gonna like bird dog it until you see that problem is solved, even if it crosses departments or you have to go to a different part of the office to talk to a person. And that's like fully own your impact. This problem is mine until I see it resolved, even if I have to collaborate with other people.
Right.
It's not off my desk until the situation is resolved.
Correct.
And it's huge. Wonderful. If you had a superpower at work, what would it be and why?
It's funny, able to understand exactly what someone means, even if the request is brief. I think if I had that ability doing what I do, it could reduce so much confusion and friction when trying to resolve a problem.
What people are saying isn't actually, they're not doing a good job of communicating.
So that's the thing. Sometimes they are doing a good job. It's just in the tone level. I'll give an example. Constant context syncing. So being able to understand exactly what someone means in the engineering field. There is a conversation that, say, David, I'm using an example, will have a conversation with a technician, and they will understand that engineering language. You see what I'm saying? If David was to try to have that same conversation with me, I'll be blue in the face. I won't know exactly what you're talking about. For me to be able to understand the way they communicate, compared to have that ability to read between the lines without having a, hey, can you simplify this enough for me because I don't understand what you're trying to say. It's like when you go to a doctor's office and they give you someone's diagnosis and you're looking at you're listening to all these big words. I'm like, well, I'm not an idiot, but can you like reword that for me so that I could, in layman's terms, so I can understand what you're saying? Like that. If me being able to understand that across the spectrum, I probably would be a lot better.
That's a fabulous one. I've never even thought of that. Did you make that up?
No.
You saw that in a comic book?
No. So, no, a comic book.
You're a Deadpool guy.
It was a comic when I was a kid, and I always had this, doing what I do is, and speaking to different personalities, and especially in New York, everyone has their own way of communicating. Doesn't mean you're wrong. It's just that the way you're wording certain things, I'm not gonna comprehend it as good as, say, you was to be communicating with someone that you had conversations with for the past 5, 10 plus years. There's a way to try to have to word, and it doesn't mean someone's an idiot. It doesn't mean someone is, it's just that there's just certain ways to word certain things so that that person can gather that information. So the sales team can have a conversation amongst sales and they can reiterate that to the operations. Operations sometimes will be like, okay, wait, do they really understand what you were trying to say? Or can you word it in a way that they understand? And I think that seems to be a lot of, that's where we're kind of like, everybody is trying to do that project or that scope and try to get it done. But I think the wording in which, say, me and you have a conversation can't be the same if I was to have that conversation with me and Ebony. So you have to understand like the persona of that individual and what they do and their duties to be able to have that straightforward conversation, to be able to have a clear understanding of what I'm saying and gathering the information of what you're saying to get the job done.
What is a surprising hobby or talent you have?
I have a knack for pattern recognition. It's just something that I was just, I guess, gifted or something. It could be a pro and a con, I guess, so to speak. It's just being able to spot hidden connections and information most people overlook, whether it's on a spreadsheet or invoice or a purchase order or a sales order. So doing what I do, it's not like something gets flipped to approved to order, for example, and I'm just gonna just order it. I can't do that. I have to look at the whole spectrum of what it is that they're trying to do and look at the scope. Sometimes I even read the contract. Sometimes I go above and beyond and go to a share folder and see what they have in their folders to see if what they're trying to initiate and implement makes sense to me before I even decide to order anything. It does take me a little longer to place an order when it comes to certain things, but I'd rather just catch the error early than catch it later.
Fabulous. What challenge have you overcome recently and what did you learn?
Navigating a period of increased workloads. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's like with everyone. Being able to, shifting priorities. I just balancing urgent issues with long-term improvements. It taught me a lot about staying adaptable, delegating effectively, my right hand Ebony, and keeping communications open.
What advice would you give to a new team member?
This is a good one. So for me, it's always be curious, ask questions early, and build relationships intentionally. You don't need to know everything, just be willing to learn.
That's great advice. I didn't prepare you for this one, but it's kind of the same vein. What advice would you give to someone who's seeking employment at scDataCom?
First, I would ask what position and what they're trying to, what are they looking for, or what are their experiences, what are they trying to get into. As far as, and then I can kind of break it down by departments because I work closely with all the departments. So if it's on an inventory level, give them exactly what's either expected, how we operate. And again, it goes back to just asking as many questions as possible. I don't ever want to put, if I'm on the spectrum of hiring someone, I don't ever want someone to think that their questions is a bad question, or they feel like, you know, an idiot for asking the question. Just ask as many questions as you can ask, and I'm willing to answer. And if I don't have that answer, I'll find that answer for you. But overall, I put you guys such on a high pedestal. Like, there is nothing bad I can honestly sit here and say about scDataCom at all, especially with, you know, you, Kathleen, Tony. I love you guys to pieces, and doing what I'm able to do and feeling appreciative, it just makes me want to do better. It wants to make me grow and give you guys my all.
It's the best thing we can do. Okay, lastly, we're doing a new part of this where we're going behind your back and we're talking to
Yeah, this was interesting. I was actually kind of curious. You know, I did try to squeeze that out of Georgia when I saw her at the dinner. I'm like, hey, what questions? She's like, no, I'm not telling you. I'm like, you know.
So Georgia's going to give us a little color about you and your work style and your relationship that we'll include in the video so you can see it when that's done.
Oh, so it's hidden.
She also gives a couple of wild card questions.
I know, those are the ones that I was trying to, you know, ask.
Georgia suggested that we ask you what your greatest achievement in your personal life is.
Wow, that's a personal? I mean, there's a lot of great achievements in the sense of like being a dad. I would say that would probably be my greatest achievement is just being a dad. I love my kids. You know, they're a pain in the butts. You know what I mean? Like, kids aren't perfect. But being able to see them grow into little humans and being able to be part of that process on the do's and the don'ts and watch out for this, and being able to kind of coordinate that structure and build that foundation for them. Something that I never had. It's probably the best for me.
And what is the number one thing on your personal bucket list?
Number one thing on my personal bucket list? Wow. Is it professional or personal? Personal? I don't know. I haven't really given that much thought. As far as on the personal spectrum, as far as...
What's your number one thing on your professional bucket list?
To grow. I want to be the best person and the best logistics or inventory or being able to coordinate with multiple teams. Like, I see a future where Ebony's where I'm at, and I'm helping facilitating other things within growing the team. Seeing Ebony where I'm at now, being able to manage 2 or 3 other people, and I'm, say, overseeing what she's doing, and just, I envision that greatly. And just, I don't know, being able to be part of something great, I think that is on my bucket list.